Hey guys, welcome to welcome to our second episode of Fstop Live. If you can see, we've already got it on the screen. I've
Right.
actually been having a bit of complications at the moment with the lack of my internet has been down. So for some reason the fiber is not working. So Grethe, welcome, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. And tell me, how's your day going so far?
It is busy. I have one deadline after the other, but quite frankly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm happiest when I'm working.
That's the thing, eh? At least you're working. The main thing is that you're busy.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I can't complain. Like a friend of mine always says, you can complain about being tired, but you can't complain about the work. So I never do.
Okay, so just to the viewers quickly. So as I said, it is the second episode today of Fstop Live, and I am interviewing Grethe Rousseau, and she's actually an editorial and fashion photographer that's based out in Cape Town. Her work is absolutely amazing. She is an amazing fashion photographer. She really knows how to utilize natural lighting. And recently, obviously, now we're getting her Godox gear in and shooting with off-camera flash. Her work is absolutely amazing. So it's been some time now that I've wanted to get her on a live stream like this so that I can obviously introduce her out there so that people see exactly who she is and the kind of work that she does. And here, as I said, it's actually really nice to have you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to interview you and get to know a little bit
Thank
more
you.
about you, and we can share your work out there. All right.
Awesome. Thank you
So,
for having me.
yeah, tell me, uh, when did you start photography?
So I kind of didn't choose photography. I always say that photography chose me. So in 2006, I enrolled in a Bachelor of Arts program to study graphic design so I can draw comics. And a big part of the degree at the time was full-time photography. And I was really annoyed by having being forced to do it. Didn't enjoy it at all because
At
we did
all?
darkroom work at all. Yeah, I did darkroom work for the first year and it was really difficult and I just didn't like it. And then suddenly something just, and please mind the pun, something just clicked into place and I just fell in love with it. And it's just something that I've been doing ever since. So yeah, 2006, I held a camera for the first time in my life.
Yeah, that's actually amazing. You find yourself getting involved in the things that you least expect yourself getting involved in. Uh,
Absolutely. And I mean, also, my father is, and my uncle was very keen hobbyist photographers. My grandfather's family owned a cinema. So photography and film had always kind of been part of the soundtrack to my life, so to say. I've always just grown up being surrounded by it. So one could say maybe it was destined. I don't know. But it's just always been there. So, and I've always been fascinated by, like why my uncle's little shed in the background was painted black on the inside.
I
Yeah, it was,
I think
yeah.
it's actually definitely destiny. You find that there's actually a silver thread in everything, and you
Mhm.
getting involved in photography was something that was destined. So we're
Absolutely.
glad to have you in the photography world, eh?
I'm happy to be here. Absolutely.
I have seen before while we were in studio as well. The, your work is amazing. Your work and your knowledge of light is absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So,
Um,
tell me something. How do you go about planning your shoots
I
apart
think
from
it kind of,
the
yeah,
client
aside
shoot?
from client, yeah, apart from client shoots, basically my own creative work is just inspired by often just one thing, like just one thing. So it can be either a specific type of lighting, it can be like, as I said, like a type of lighting that I'd like to explore. It could be a garment or a designer or a model I'd really like to work with. And then essentially, I just look at this element and I would just flesh it out and kind of see what would I like to do with this and how would I like to translate this idea into something that you can actually put into a photo shoot, that you can put into art, that you can create with. And also for me, a big part of that is finding collaborators and people who want to work with me, not only work with me, but also want to create something, that kind of suits our entire that suits the vibe of what we're trying to do. Because obviously it's really important to also make people play to their strengths as well, which is really great. So I really just enjoy creating with talented people. And that's kind of the driving force behind all of my shoots.
So I would say a lot of what you do, obviously apart from the paid work, and yes, we do love the paid work, but a lot of what you do is fueled by your passion, right?
Absolutely. It's just, for me, just creating. I kind of feel it's an incredible honor for me to be able to create art in, a world that, needs it so much. I thoroughly believe that the world needs and craves art in a way, in an authentic way, at least. And that's why it's really, really a huge honor for me to be able to do this, not only as a career, but also just as a passion. And, I think every photographer goes through these like art block, creative block kind of stages where we just kind of feel, you know what? And I've said this multiple times, just put the camera away. Like, I'm just done. I can't anymore. And then it just kind of just sucks you back in. Like it just and I can never stay away from it too long. It's amazing. And I love, being able to create in both an artistic and technical way at the same time. There's a bit of both of those aspects that absolutely appeal to me, is the technical side and the artistic side. And I liken that to like playing instruments, because I play wind instruments as well. And it's
Yeah,
kind of the same thing, the technicality and the artistic side of it. I love that.
no, definitely. I think when
Yeah.
you do look at photography as a whole, it's definitely something that you can find yourself quite addicted to, and
Absolutely.
no, even the instances where maybe I worked two big weekends in the month, and
Mm,
because I have a family and I have my
mm,
wife and my kids, so I tell myself like maybe for the next 2 weekends I'll have a bit of a break, spend time with him,
mm.
and then I'll go back to obviously doing my photography for the following weeks that will come. And somehow I'll find
Yeah.
myself once behind the camera, back on the shoot, shooting someone, and like, oh my word, I need to really give this a break a little bit. But
No, but that's actually very important, though. It's something I had to teach myself because, I mean, I mentioned earlier in the chat that, I'm happiest when I'm working, but I needed to get to a point in my life which gets easier as I get older. And I think for a lot of photographers and also creatives out there, finding that balance between, resting and, I mean, for us photographers, editing and shooting, because those two things are two completely different beasts, even though they go hand in hand. But just finding that balance between having time for yourself and for the work is incredibly important. And it is something that gets easier with experience, but it is extremely crucial.
and that being said, I'd like to know, tell me, where do you find your inspiration? How do you find inspiration?
Um, Weirdly enough, not from other photographers, actually. Um, when it comes to inspiring myself, I try to, you know, keep myself away from other people's work because I mean, look, I want to say I don't want to be derivative, but in certain senses that actually will happen because a lot of art overlaps. But what I try to do to inspire myself is just look at art, look at, textures, look at light, look at, things that interest me. I mean, I love fighter jets. you know, I have this running series, and it's about time that I do another one where I try to do like an aviation themed fashion shoot. And it's about, as I've said, it's about time I do another one because aviation is a huge passion of mine. So a big part of it is looking at external elements, looking at, things that you just like, and also looking internally at your own passions. And what, it's kind of the same thing that I just said, but honestly, it's just, you know, the things that you enjoy, the things that bring you joy are the things that end up inspiring your art. And whether it's art that, is for a client, whether it's art that's a commentary on something, because that's also extremely important, is having art with meaning, and just making art for yourself. It's just whatever brings you joy, whatever puts your voice out into the world, whatever, you know, feels like yourself. That is where inspiration comes from for me personally. And, what I feel is crucial to inspiration to many, many other photographers as well.
No, that's true. No, I'm glad you find inspiration in yourself,
Mhm.
obviously. Um, because you see it in the pictures. In fact, you are actually one of my sources for inspiration. Like I know you post up every like week or so. You put up
Thank
a,
you.
and I look at the images and I'm like, whoa, how did she light this up? When you were telling me I should just ask you, but I look at it and I'm like,
Anyone can
wow,
ask.
this is amazing. Okay,
Anyone
so guys, I hope you heard that. So Grethe, Grethe, if there's anything that you'd like to ask regarding her pictures, you can actually ask her. So just drop
Yes,
her a
please
message.
ask. Please ask.
And if
If
there's
I'm not busy, if I can reply, I'll totally reply, and I'm happy to help.
all the viewers, if there's anybody that would like to ask a question now, please do so
Yes,
in the
please.
comments. You can just drop us a like, share this, and drop us a comment. You can ask us whatever you'd like to ask. Grethe is here. She's willing to answer those questions about
Hmm.
obviously photography and herself. So go ahead
Hmm.
and ask in the comments.
Please do.
So, so there's something that you just spoke about now, and you spoke about getting artistic block. And I know we're going a
Hmm.
little off this, but I'd like to obviously ask about that artistic block. How do you uh, get over it? Because at the end of the day, every artist finds themselves in a situation where they do face that artistic block.
Well, it depends on, which context you're sitting with this, because if it's for your personal work, then it's obviously a little bit more difficult. But I mean, for client work, it's on another level, because, you got to perform no matter what, you got to perform. And that's also something that comes with experience, if I have to be honest. But um mostly artistic block is just, sometimes, as cliched as it sounds, you sometimes just got to take a break, man. You just got to, you know, what I sometimes do is just taking a break, going through old work, seeing maybe is there something I can reimagine, or just, critically look at my own work. Because that is a skill that I learned while I was a student, was just, image analysis, and just looking at your own work and seeing, hey, like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. Can I reimagine this? Do I want to reimagine this? Is it necessary? Not necessarily to do it better, but just, like, to revisit an old idea. Because a lot of my shoots, many of them are just, revisitations of either just a certain type of lighting I'd like to try again, or, a certain garment I'd like to shoot with again, if I have the opportunity to do so, or a model I'd like to work with. So I think it's just a case of, just finding that little thing, like just finding a little thing that you'd like to do, and just, even if you take 3 photos of it. And a good little exercise that I love doing is something that, when I was still teaching photography, was I would tell my students to get, like, an object, an apple, whatever, and just put it down and shoot it in 3 different ways, 3 different types of lighting, 3 different looks, different scenery, whatever, and see how creative you can be with it. And that's a really cool exercise to do. And something else that I do, excuse me, something else that I do that's also really cool is pretend I'm shooting on film again. Give yourself 24 frames, and that's it. That's all you have. And you just go and see what you can do in 24 frames. Make those 24 frames count, and that's a really cool exercise to do. So that's something that I sometimes find myself doing. And weirdly enough, shooting with my phone also really, really helps. Like, I know a lot of photographers see that as sacrilege, but shooting with my phone, because of its limitations, forces me to be creative in a completely different way. And it teaches you how to light with what you have, which I find extremely fascinating. Light fascinates me. And I'm digressing completely, but it's just, art block is just something that I kind of feel you have to consciously work through it. it's not something that you can like take your break and then consciously move through it. Don't, especially if you do it as a career. It's just a case of, sitting with it for a while and then pushing through and have
Of
some
course,
fun along the way.
I would definitely say, with what you just said now, we have to understand that our body works on a clock. As much
Mhm.
as you work, you have to equally rest. And if you don't, then
For sure.
you do what obviously us artists call art block. At the end of the day,
Work-life balance, man.
you work, you work, you rest, and have fun in
Yeah,
between. I think
totally.
if there's any, you respect your body, you respect
Hmm.
the obviously clock that it's on, and you push yourself to obviously go beyond what you've done before, and that's something that I obviously also try my best to attain to. Is I want to do better than
Absolutely.
previously, but I need to understand that there has to be some sort of rest that comes in there. And believe me, I hardly rest. You can call me at 2 o'clock
I mean,
in the morning.
how it
I'm probably,
goes.
I'm probably
Yeah,
up
but I
at
mean,
2 o'clock. It's crazy.
as you said, like as we've discussed, it's literally that work-life balance that kind of helps. And I feel that when it comes to art block, when you do get that work-life balance, but like when you get that, you know, um, down kind of, then the art block becomes a little bit less, like it occurs less frequently. But something I told a friend of mine once is bear this in mind, that growth always feels uncomfortable.
Mm,
And it's exactly, I mean, it's like that on a personal level, but within art, within photography, you do go through these ebbs and flows where you don't really feel like it about your work and you're not happy with what you're creating. And I mean, on a like for personal work, I mean, not for clients, but you just kind of feel like I'm just not liking what I'm doing. And then you just kind of like slowly get out of that and you start leveling up. So it's just that whole like growth is always uncomfortable. So that's also something to bear in mind.
no, that's definitely true. So, guys, as you're hearing what Beth says, it is very important to understand that you need to obviously work, you need to rest, you need to be able to look at obviously
Mhm.
the struggles of life that you find yourself in, and push on. So, as I
Mhm.
said, if you have any questions,
Totally.
you can keep ask us in the comments. Great. While we're at it, I'm just gonna ask Admin to help us out with this one. All right. I want to put up some of your images, and as I said, because I'm not working off my PC, I won't be able to do it up myself. So we're gonna ask Edmund just to put up one of your pictures.
Thank you,
I'd like.
admin.
Thank you, Edmund. Okay, so look at this. This is absolutely inspirational. Look at this.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Tell me, what was your thought processes behind this?
To be honest, I can't actually remember why I wanted to do the shoot, like what the why behind the shoot was, but I think just what it could have been was just like the model and I decided, oh, we want to do something. I asked my friend, who's a wonderful makeup artist and hairstylist, to come and help me. And the concept kind of just, I had a 5 rand space blanket in my
Mm,
closet and I wanted to use it. And first off, we went to Gordon's Bay and the wind, I couldn't open the car door. That's how bad the wind was. Then we decided to mission a little bit back because I live in Somerset West and missioned a little bit back to Strand. And the wind was still bad, but it was a little bit less bad. And I just told the model, you know what? Take the space blanket and work with it. Work against the wind. Thankfully, her hair was like gelled tightly against her head, as you
I
can
can,
see.
I can see that. I can see that, and it works. It works so well because you're getting a sheen on her hair,
I
and
was
it's
so grateful.
my word. Like if the hair
Yeah.
was open, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work with this.
Oh, no,
But this is
absolutely. And then we just messed around with the space blanket. The whole idea was just kind of the silvers and the blues and so on. And for some reason, this image really resonated with me because I tend to take like phoenixes, the mythical creature phoenixes are extremely important to me because of my grandfather. And this is part of also a shoot series that I'd like to do. And my first phoenix shoot I did in a burnt landscape, which was really, really, really cool. I really love that shoot as well. And this one is just the second iteration in this series because while I was doing it, it's just everything just looked like wings and power, and it felt like it needed to be a phoenix. And here we are, Phoenix version 2.
This is absolutely stunning. If we can just go back to that picture, Edmund. Okay, just to break down, how did you light this up? Because from what I can see, we've got sunlight coming in from the right hand side.
Yes,
If that's correct.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay. So
exactly. So all that I did was work with the natural sunlight and the reflection from the space blanket. So essentially the space blanket acting like a fill light in most situations. And for this, I think I used some natural light for the fill for this still. It's either that or I had a flash. I actually can't remember. I did shoot some of these with flash. It's just I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look in the EXIF data to tell you.
no,
I
that's
think I used flash though. Actually can't yeah, no, I think I did, yeah.
funny. Edmund, can we go on to the next one? Ooh,
Oh,
tell me
I
more
love
about
this one. I love this one. Yeah,
this.
so this
This looks really
yeah,
nice.
thank you. So this was a project that I did for a brand, a glitter. So the brand is the glitter that's on the eye makeup. And
Okay.
the whole concept for the shoot was just this whole neon dreamscape kind of look. And we shot this in studio in Cape Town. It was a whole day, and a lot of these garments, like that particular dress that she's wearing, is a thrifted garment. And I mean, you can sometimes just do, with a little bit of luck and a great team, you can do some great stuff. And yeah, basically the light setup for this was we had two tube lights, two neon tube lights, and two flashes, Godox flashes with gels on them. Can't remember which ones, but it's one of the bigger ones. I think it's 8600. Is it?
My favorite, my favorite light. I'll
Yes,
tell you.
there we go.
Put my hand up there. I love that light. Gosh, I love that light.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and I think the main one, I think the main light to camera right may have been a octo, like an
Mm.
octobank on top of it, and then I had the definitely like that red rim light on the left is one of the neon tubes that did
No, this
that.
is
Actually, funny story, we needed one more neon tube, and the makeup artist and her assistants, I think, if I remember the story correctly, because this was from 2001, 2001, 2021. Um,
really-
they went and they listen, 2001, my guy.
my word.
Um,
I
yeah.
got a shock there. I'm like, wait, what was you shooting this on? A 12
No, no, no,
a
I was
12
in grade 8, my guy. I was in grade 8. But yeah, so I think they went and bought the fluorescent tubes because we had 4, and the videographer brought 2 along, and then the makeup artist and her assistant basically went and got these fluoro tubes that they basically had at the hardware shop or someone right before the shoot. Someone rigged them up so we like a battery pack so we could use them. It was or like to an extension or something. It was so great. So as I've said, the main takeaway from this shoot for me is just working with an amazing team that will just go all the way to create something like this. And, on shoots like these, and when everyone comes together, and here's another photo in the series that's actually, exactly that same story. It's just when you come together with a bunch of people to create an amazing image and everyone, they see the vision, they want to create the vision, then it just it just comes together. And man, do I like it when a good plan comes together.
I find I find this image really really inspirational, especially getting to hear the story behind it. To know that the attire that she's wearing is from a thrift.
Yep.
It's crazy. That's number one. Number two, to realize that you managed to obviously put makeshift tube lights.
Makeshift stuff. Yeah,
Makeshift. So it just shows that it's resilience. It's resilience and being able to obviously
absolutely.
go beyond whatever it is.
Exactly.
Just to be able to go
Exactly.
beyond. It
Yeah.
shows how things come up. Because if you would look at this image, you would like off the bat. You look at this image, you think that it was done in a high tech studio, and you had the best models and the best team and all of the garments and
I did
everything
have
was
the
just
best team though.
you have the best team. Yes, it's
I
for them
did have
to.
the best team.
My word, yeah, this is stunning. It's absolutely
Yeah,
stunning. And
thank
well,
you. I love.
Well done on this one.
I love
Uh,
this shoot so much.
Edmund, can we move on to the next one?
Ah,
Ooh,
this one.
love it. This was
Yeah.
also this is one of your recent ones, right?
Yeah, this is from last year. I think, yeah, it's from last year. So in 2014, the shoot that kind of launched my professional career was a shoot that I did with one of my makeup artist friends, and it was this very like Shakespearean kind of fairy story. And I realized at some point, that shoot went like viral in a way because it was shared like the reach. I mean, in 2014, let's be honest. It just like it saw like a lot of people saw it. And even today, if I share one of those photos, the response is just unreal. And
Mm.
the styling and everything was so great. And I decided last year, you know what? I'd really like to reimagine the story because it meant a lot to me, not only on a professional level, but on a personal level as well. So this photo, we did the story. The original story was done with two models. So we had two models again. And once again, this was one of these shoots where, just like the previous photo, it's just the vision and the art was bigger than the limitations, which is very, very important for photo shoots. It's just if you do something, it needs to be the art needs to be bigger than the limitations, the vision needs to be bigger than the limitations. And
Mm.
this shoot was absolutely that. And I mean, the earrings that the model is wearing, the accessories, the stylist and her assistant were sitting on my stoop with a hot glue gun crafting those earrings while the makeup artist was busy with hair and makeup. And it's just everything about the shoot just came together in a way that just honored the previous shoot so well, and I'm incredibly proud of it.
Now, just looking at it now, I can definitely see that there was definitely passionate people that worked on this. This is a
For
stunning shot.
sure. Again, one of these shoots with the best teams. I mean, I'm very discerning about the people I work with. So it's
Work.
just, the best teams always, especially for personal work. So this one as well is just in terms of lighting, it's just my dear friend was my flash assistant for the day. And it was just knocked out a little 8100 Pro to camera left, just a little bit of full flash for those shadows, and then main light, my favorite direct sunlight. Man, I love direct sunlight so much.
I like what you just said now. You use the 8100 for full light.
Mm,
I think one of the big things that people need to understand, especially with photography and obviously excelling beyond what the current norms is,
mm,
people or photographers, or especially photographers in our climate, they
mm,
feel as if the light needs to be. Mind me, sorry, I'm battling my throat. But photographers feel as if the lighting needs to be the main dominant light when you're doing a shoot. When
mm,
in your case right now, you're showing a beautiful image like this. It was obviously shot in the daytime because you've got
mm.
sunlight. And then you used a small light like an AD100. And all you
Yeah,
did on the AD100, you used it to full light coming in
yeah,
from the left. Coming in from the
absolutely.
left, full some light. And that's
Yeah.
what people understand. That's what photographers need to understand is that you don't need that big light that's just coming in and blasting light
Hmm.
on a subject. Like an instance like this, you use the small light just for a little bit of full,
Mm.
just to give you that
Yeah,
dynamic,
yeah,
to give you the dynamic on the left. And you're getting all of the
absolutely.
main light that you're using, which is the sun, the available
Absolutely.
light, and you're
Yeah.
bringing that in. So you have a perfect balance between those light. And look at this, is absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this one, like something that I said in groups all the time and on forums and things is, it's important to learn the rules of photography when you're starting out. That's extremely important. But as you go along, the rules are actually merely suggestions. And the suggestions are there, just based on how people in general, like how they generally perceive imagery. And sometimes, man, if you just want to do a split light with a full flash, go for it, man. I think a question just popped up here. Um,
What Kenlan asking what gear she's using. So I just answered
uh,
that with 8100, right?
Yeah, 8100 Pro. That is my little Godox Lichty of choice. And yeah,
It's actually such a beautiful light, eh? The 8100.
fantastic. I love it. I think what makes it such a like a light for me to use is because I work with sunlight mostly, and because I mean, look, I love studio. Like, here's a lot of studio shots that you're seeing tonight, but I mean, location, my heart is on a location straight up, and I need something that's portable and powerful, and that little light just absolutely takes the box for me. It excuse me, it really does. And I mean, compared to what I used before I used this, like just some speed lights, it's
Mm.
just like 100 watts coming out of that little Coke can is absolutely unheard of. I love it. I love it.
I love the fact that you referred to it as a Coke can because that's
It
exactly what it
totally
is.
is. It
My
totally is.
word, it's like this big.
Yeah,
It's like literally this big, and I love the
absolutely.
fact
It's
that.
amazing. And it packs such a punch. It's fabulous.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
the thing because your standard what's this flash, they range between like 60 and 70 watts. It's like
60 and 70, and this one is 100.
100 watts. You're getting 100 watts, and it's packed into something that you can literally throw in your bag, and you
Absolutely.
won't notice it's there. So
Absolutely, and the battery life is amazing.
yeah, I
Seriously,
know
I'm so
that.
happy with that little light. It's absolutely fantastic. I can barely live without it. Like, if I'm using
You know
flash,
what?
that's my first
I think
one.
I think what's also really nice about the light, and you can definitely attest to it because you own it, is the round head that it has. Because it's a round
Yes.
head, it gives a very flattering light compared to your
Yes,
normal
definitely.
normal rectangular head flash. You know the Fresnel rectangular head flash.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, interestingly enough, the way that I would circumvent this with my previous speed lights is I would just have a circular diffuser that I would pop onto it, and that kind of did the thing for me. But I mean, now I don't have to do this. Like, I have the little accessory kit, and I just pop the like dome diffuser on it. Wonderful, wonderful.
okay, we've got Stefan Ralston over here. He's saying hi. I just want to say hi, Stefan. Shout out to you.
Hello,
Thank you for tuning in.
hi.
And for some reason, I see Kenlan is losing the plot here. I think he wants to know exactly what camera gear he uses.
Okay, am I allowed to?
Yes, 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 please tell him
Okay,
what
cool.
camera.
So, yeah, I look, in terms of brands, it's just like camera brands, it doesn't matter what you shoot with. I just want to put that out there. It's literally just, I learned to shoot on Canon, so I currently have a Canon 5D Mark IV, and my favorite workhorse lens is the 2470 f2.8, but the Canon one, but the old one. I don't have the new one, I have the old one, the brick one.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the 7200 f2.8, and those are the ones I have. Yeah, and I mean, I've just been a Canon girl, like I just learned how to shoot on it. But I mean, if someone handed me a Nikon right now or a Sony or a Fuji, I'd be like, let's do it.
Where's the settings? Let's shoot. Let's do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's just I just shoot Canon because I learned to shoot on it. That's why. Yeah.
Full respect to that, and you're doing amazing work with what gear you use.
Yeah, and I'm
Okay,
still
just
a DSLR girl. Let's just yeah. I still shoot on a DSLR. I prefer them. Yeah. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
I think there's a time for everything, and your time will
Yes,
come.
definitely.
When it
Definitely.
comes, you can let me know.
Yeah, yeah.
Ask Edmund just to change the
Next.
image. Ooh, I think
Ooh.
this is my favorite. This is my
Ah,
absolute.
yes.
Oh my
And
word!
my lovely friend. So this is for one of my absolute, absolute, absolute favorite clients, and I'm shooting with her again very soon. I'm so excited. I think there's another photo here that's also from one of her shoots. So I included this one again, the studio that I shot in, like, I think it was, as I've said, like an 8600 or something. And basically, this is a one light setup. Absolutely a one light setup with a V flat in the back. And
Just
it's just,
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
just with one light with an octabox. That's it. And the model just had the most beautiful movements and showing the dress with the fabulous sleeves. And it's just, the shot is just, whenever I look at it, I'm like, did I take that? Did I
And,
really?
and honestly, this is an image that can easily stand for itself on the international stage. There's no two ways about that. Edmund,
Thank
can
you
you
so
just
much.
move
I'm
a
very
little bit
proud.
closer, just a little bit closer there towards your face? I'd like to show our viewers lighting. Just look at this. Look at this. This is absolutely stunning here. This is absolutely stunning. Yes.
Thank you.
So
I
what
really
light what light did you use in this one, if you don't mind?
This one, because it's the same studio as the neon shoot, and I think the lights that they have a couple of other brands as well, but the one I prefer to shoot with is the Godox one, the 8600. I just love that thing. It's either that or 300. I can't exactly remember because I haven't shot there in a while, but it's just putting that thing into the octobox is just absolute gloriousness. And what I
I think
love about yeah,
the power that's available from the 8600. It makes
absolutely.
it a beautiful light. Beautiful light.
Absolutely. And I think what I really enjoy about the shot is just, working with shadow, because I think a lot of, photographers forget that shadow is as important as light. And I mean, in this case, in this particular photo, what I love about it is just the shadow just makes her stand out from the background. It adds movement to the shot and atmosphere to the shot. And I think that's something because again, it comes back to, like movies and stuff being such a part of me growing up. It's just that cinematic feel, that absolute atmosphere in shots is something that I always try to create.
No, I'm just gonna go back to the point that you just said quickly, and I agree with you. Is shadow is very important. Shadow
Yeah.
is as equal as light, I would say. So you have
Yeah.
to have balance. Like, and also some of the people, what they do is that they try and retain highlights, and then they obviously increase shadows to remove shadows, and then the image looks like a very like like you get those high dynamic range images. It
Mm.
doesn't look right. It's like you could place
There is
there's
a
something.
place for that. There's absolutely a place for that, though. I mean, it does take practice to do those. I personally don't do them because it's difficult and you need a lot of kit to do it. So I don't do it. But it's just, we've said, shadows are just important and you need to make them work for you.
I think if anything, people need to understand is that shadows add depth. It adds depth to the image. It adds depth to the image.
Absolutely.
In fact, we
Absolutely.
just had Damien comment now. He says, yep, shadow creates depth and dimension, and of course, that's I
100%.
100%. Shadow does it gives you that depth. So even if you do
100%.
if you find people doing 3D design, that's one of the things that they look for. They use shadow to create depth and dimension.
Yeah,
100%.
totally. No, I love
While
it. It's
on this image, I want to ask you the question, and
mm.
this is a perfect example of an editorial. What made you go into editorial and fashion photography, of all things? Because I'm
So
sure you may have shot other things. Am I right?
I did. I did wedding photography at one point, and then I just realized I'm not a wedding photographer for various reasons. I love second shooting. Second shooting weddings I enjoy so much because it's B-roll. It's, getting to hang out with people and kind of like take photos of joyous moments and stuff like that. But shooting weddings is just it's hard work. It's really hard work. And when I was a student, my friend and I had what I like to call fashion editorial book club. Now, this was before like Instagram and stuff existed. So you didn't have like this kind of, you weren't flooded with imagery of, fashion shoots and people's dinner and stuff like that. So we would basically just find on, somewhere on the internet and we would buy like the fashion magazines and stuff and we would go, oh my word, this is so cool. And we would just like exchange, like have this constant exchange of images and ideas between the two of us. And that kind of just give that kind of just gave me this incredible love of garments, number one, like of fashion of itself and the construction of garments. My favorite designers are, Iris van Herpen and van Herpen. I don't know how to say it. I want to pronounce it like really German, but it's probably incorrect. And Alexander McQueen and Thierry Mugler. I'm really, really, really love those three designers. And I think what I love about it is just I love really like architectural kind of, sculpted, kind of almost like sci-fi fighter jet kind of garments. And I love creating with them and seeing, how a garment flows, how fabric flows, how it's constructed, how, models can bring them to life, the stories you can tell, and the compositions you can create. I just fell in love with that entire process as much as the end result. And just, seeing everything come together, it just, the hard work that goes into it and seeing these images and just being completely in awe of them, from, like sitting in 2007 with my friend in graphic design class, looking at these photos and just going, yo, I wish I could do that. And
Okay,
yeah, there we go.
with that being said, okay, because I find this is also something that you may find as well. Like people that are out there in the photography industry that may have just started photography, they look at these images and they put you so high up there on the pedestal that they feel like
Mm,
maybe they can't relate to you. They can't relate because, oh my word, look at this. This image is absolutely amazing. She's
mm,
absolutely amazing. But the fact is, you started off somewhere.
absolutely.
Right down at the bottom, you started off somewhere where you were also taking
Absolutely.
pictures that were completely blown out with no sort of understanding of photography and all. What can you
Absolutely.
what can you advise to the newbie that's out there that may be watching or that may watch later on?
I
What can you?
think, yeah, I think one of the most important things that you need to do is just believe in your own voice, your artistic voice, as a photographer, as an artist. And this is extremely important. Do not shoot for likes on social media. Don't do
Okay.
that. Shoot for yourself, shoot for art, shoot to create, and shoot to explore, and yourself as an artist, to explore the art around you, to explore the world around you, even if it's just, down your street. Just, try to see, photography as an extension of yourself, and to constantly try and improve, what you're creating, to improve yourself, to improve, even if it's just for yourself, like smashing the personal best, so to say. Because that's something I keep doing. I never claim to know everything. I never claim to have learned everything that there is to learn. And I think that's super important for photographers to know. It's just, look at these images, be inspired by them, but in your journey, you are exactly where you're meant to be. And, you know, also, you need to let art do what it wants to do, because this is something I battle with sometimes. Because I want something, you see something in your head, and there's something that you want to create, and the art that comes out of you is just like, nope, I'm going to do my own thing. And at some point, you start realizing that is where your style comes from. That is
Yes.
where, because I always say, a lot of people ask, like, wait, how do I find my style? But it's been there from the beginning. And the reason I say this is because if you look at my early embarrassing work, the early embarrassing work has the same kind of um, qualities to it, in terms of the bright colors, the harsh sunlight, the heavy contrast, that kind of thing. It's been there from the beginning. And at the same time, I just do want to give some credit to my very patient and very talented sister-in-law, because my sister-in-law and we basically started like just doing shoots and just, you know, practicing and having fun with it. And she would do makeup, and we would put on costumes and go and take photos in the forest. And my sister-in-law just kind of like really helped put this thing together. So again, the people you surround yourself with helps a lot.
No, definitely. I think you know what. If
Yeah,
there's anything, oh, sorry, man, mind my coughing. I'm actually really battling with my throat. But
no problem.
if there's anything that's important, that you just spoke about the journey that we are all on. I think people need to
Mm,
understand, and you find ourselves rushing so much. We want to rush, and we want to get further than where we are right now, of course. And I understand it's the human element that you want to progress in this
yeah,
skills you love so much. But I think the important thing to understand is that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step. And
just one step.
understanding that it's just that one step, and then it's the next step, and it's
Absolutely.
and it's the next step, and it's the next step, and then so on, and then you get to a point where you've actually traveled kilometers and kilometers into this journey.
Exactly.
And you
Exactly.
realize, I always tell the Durban guys that I work with, and there's quite a few photographers that I help them out and I advise them, and you find them, they contact me and they ask me for advice and stuff. And I tell them a simple thing. I tell them it's very simple. If you focus on yourself, meaning look down, this is all I say. I say look down and continue to work. So if you focus on your feet, you're not gonna worry about what's out there. You're not gonna worry
Absolutely.
who's shooting this and who's shooting that. You're not gonna worry about any of those
Yeah.
things because all you are focusing on is what's
Yeah.
in front and you taking
There's,
that next step. That's all you're concentrating on. What's the next step?
absolutely.
How to take
Yeah.
the next step.
And there's two
That's all.
things, two little like quotes. One quote that I really love is by an actor that I really love. And the quote that he says is like, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and when you look back, you've climbed a mountain.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that is so good. And the other thing that I keep on telling myself, and I tell this to myself even every single day at every shoot, and I want everyone to remember this because I realized this at one point, the first shot is always the hardest.
Mm,
Taking the camera out, taking that first shot is always the hardest. Once you pass the first shot, there we go. You just get into it. So never, like the nerves are always there for the first shot, for everything. First shot's
yeah.
always the hardest. But just get past it.
Go past it. Go past it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
totally. Just push through
No,
and
bearing
let the
in
art
mind
take you wherever it wants to.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that should be your slogan. Let the art take you where it wants to. Wow, that's amazing.
Actually my slogan is pink hair, don't care, but
Ah, okay, okay. No, but thank you so much for sharing this time with us. Obviously,
absolutely. You are so welcome.
is there
I
anyone
really enjoyed this.
who that would like to ask us a question before we close up?
Yes, quick
Mind you,
questions.
viewers, please mind us. We are on a load shedding schedule, so
Sadly, yes. Because I
sadly,
could spend your
I
I
could
could
have sat for hours with you.
same, same.
Listening
I
to
love this.
conversation.
I'm enjoying myself.
No, I need to get you on again. I'm gonna get you on again. So
Absolutely. No, I'm game. I would
hopefully,
love to. I would love to. I'm really having a great time.
let's
Yeah.
hope that.
So yeah, any questions, guys?
Is there any questions, guys? Anyone that would like to ask us? Ask Jeff a question?
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
you've got Kendall saying you're a wise woman.
Thank you. It's just practice and experience. When you've been doing this as long as I have, you just kind of you get the profound moments and then you get the not so profound moments. Like my shoot last week. Where I think one of the questions you sent me was, "What is my most embarrassing moment?"
Yes, I need to
And
ask. What is it?
it's not one of the most embarrassing moments, but it's
It happened
the
last
most
week.
recent one.
You told me about
Yeah,
it.
it's one of the
Okay.
most recent ones that came to mind though. Like I was on a shoot for again another favorite client, and I was doing a top-down shot. We were on the beach and a very slippery rock, and I keep on telling myself, "Listen, there's algae growing on it. Just be careful. It's slippery."
I, I tell
Next
the
moment, my
people
left leg just decides,
when I go with a client to any water where there's rocks, the first thing I tell him, if it's green, it's slippery.
"Yeah, yeah." But just
Ah,
didn't listen.
it didn't
Me gave
register.
out of the Yeah, didn't register at the moment. I was in the zone, man. I was doing my thing, and the
Yeah,
next moment, I'm flat on my butt.
Fuck. Oh my word.
On my knee, actually. I messed up my knee pretty badly, but I mean, I can walk, so I'm good.
Everything is okay. Everything is okay. Okay.
Yeah, but that was like falling down in front of, the entire team is like, I mean, at least the camera's fine. The camera's fine. All that's important.
As long as the gear is good. But Grethe, sorry, I keep saying Grethe. Because I know it as Grethe, but Grethe. Thank you so
That's
much
okay.
for joining us on the second episode. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing your views.
I'd love to be back.
You're definitely someone that we can look up to as a woman in the industry that's holding your own, that's delivering knockout punches down in Cape Town. Uh, Thank you so much for sharing your time with us,
Thank
sharing
you.
skill set with us, some of your knowledge with us as well. And we really appreciate having you. And as I said, I look
Of
forward
course.
to having you again.
Of course, anytime I'd love to. And anyone, if you want any advice or any questions, just let me know. I'm more than happy to help.
Okay,
Send me a
could you
message.
share your socials with the viewers? If you could just tell them where
Yeah,
they
of
can follow.
course. Like anywhere on socials, Instagram, Behance, anywhere. I'm just Grethe Photos. So it's just Grethe, that's my name, and then photo PHODO. So that's it.
Beautiful.
Just at Grethe Photo everywhere.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Enjoy the rest
awesome.
of your evening.
You
Bye.
too. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Okay, guys, so that was Grethe Rosseaux that we had today, and she's, as I said, she's an absolutely amazing photographer that's based out in Cape Town. She does editorial and fashion photography. She's got an amazing understanding of lighting, of balancing both natural light and using strobe off-camera flash. And I'm definitely going to get her on again. So uh, this episode obviously wasn't enough to be able to cover a lot of the knowledge that she has. And in fact, I think we may have gotten through maybe half of the images supplied, but solely because of load shedding that's about to obviously happen in the next 9 minutes. We have to obviously cut it short and say goodbye. But stay tuned. We're gonna have some awesome photographers. As I did tell you last week, we had an amazing photographer last week. We had another amazing photographer this week. We're gonna have another amazing photographer next week. I'm just gonna mention it now because it's already confirmed. We're gonna have Kenlin Denepi Sanderson next week. Catch us next week Friday. We're gonna go through his wedding photography and how he uses Godox SA lighting, how he obviously lights up his different plans and shots that he does. So we're gonna go through that. So join us. It's gonna be a weekly thing. The reason why we moved today's episode to Thursday is purely because of the load shedding schedule. So we're looking at either having it on a Thursday or a Friday. However, notices will be out early so that you know exactly when to obviously catch us. So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all of the support to all of the photographers, the community that's following and that's watching and that's sharing, liking these posts, that are commenting. Uh, Feel free. This is actually a very relaxed session. Come through, ask us questions if there's things that you want to know. To all the newbies, if you feel like maybe you want to know a certain thing, you can easily ask us a question in the comments. Ask us questions in the comments, and we will definitely answer them for you. But definitely, you can follow me at Sherwin Pather. You'll find me on Facebook. You'll find me on Instagram. And if you need anything from Godox SA, you can contact me. I can advise you on the right lighting to get. And when you want to purchase something, you can just use my discount code. It's Godox Sherwin, no spaces, so just Godox Sherwin, and you can get it from Godox SA and you get an awesome discount. But guys, thank you so much for following. Thank you so much for watching, and we really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Goodbye.